Alright guys, after doing that test run with them tomatoes, I decided I ain't gonna freeze this. We're gonna take that, and that's about, I'm gonna just say a good 6 cups. And we're gonna make us some quick, easy salsa. Just the last week of July. Tomatoes is still. This here's the purple boys. Y'all can see it's still putting on tomatoes. I got them all pruned up and cleaned up a few days ago. The okra and the peppers. These peppers is really finna go to jumping, cause I'm finna start shooting fertilizer to them. That right there is the only red snappers I got left. Probably when them tomatoes come off, I'm gonna do away with them. Halcinator cucumbers is still getting it right here at the last week of July. Our new squash is coming on. And the Halcinator tomatoes is doing just like they did last year. Still got tomatoes, big tomatoes, but yet they're still putting on little tomatoes. Not as many as the purple boy, but plenty enough to keep me tomatoes to eat through the summer into the fall. So there's y'all just a little quick end of July garden update. My zucchinis and yellow squash cooked in another pumpkin. Now I don't know about it, what it's gonna do. Hoping it'll make him another pumpkin before the end of October, Halloween. Yeah. Garden ain't got that much in it, but now we down to the high heat and keeping things going with the second batch of, well, there's a cucumber there I planted for late summer, early fall cucumbers just to have to eat. Late cantaloupe, see what it's gonna do. So there's y'all just a little sneak peek of the last week of July. Now I cleaned them summer dance cucumbers off that was there from the spring planting. And here's the next ones, and look how beautiful they are. We done got 2 or 3 off there, and I see one hanging right down there. Could be picked right now, but I'll wait till in the morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's Place. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Right now is a good time. If you ain't never subscribed to my channel, please reach down there and hit that subscribe button. Don't cost you a thing. Ring that notification bell. Cause Papaw's Place is a little bit about everything. No telling what you may see me doing. You may learn something. You may learn something not to do by watching me, because I always show my failures along with the things that turn out the way I want them to. That way we can all learn together, or put our heads together and come up with something else. But today, what I got here, I had a Weston tomato press, electric. This here was called Electric Deluxe. I guess the English is on this side. There we go, now I can read it. The Weston Deluxe Tomato Strainer, that's what it's called. And this thing worked great, and I got a video of me using it when I first got it. I'll try to find it and attach above if you want to come back and watch it. Now this thing really worked good, guys. I was so proud of it, but I made the mistake and burnt the motor up on it, and it was something I did. What I did what I did, I was going to use it to string muscadines, and it worked great for doing that. But as many muscadines as I had, instead of just getting some more muscadines, I was going to run my pup back through there again. Well, that had it pretty loaded. It was too much for the motor. Instead of just quitting, I'm like, well, I don't like much. It's going to make it. Well, it didn't. It burnt my motor up. Well, then, after I done that, I come in here and I converted this thing over to where I could use a battery powered drill. And again, I think I got a video on that I showed, and I'll attach it above if I can find it. But the drill had to sit under here like this, and you either had to tie the trigger on the drill, or I just didn't like how it was working. But it did worked fine. Well, it's come around to this time of the year, and I'm getting ready to do some tomatoes. And I said, I got this out. Gonna make sure it was cleaned up. That way one day when I decided to do it, everything'd be ready to go. And I'm like, you know what? I got a little motor here. Now at this point, I'm gonna talk y'all through the video clips few videos that I made while I was doing this. But I took this thing apart, and this is off the motor on the inside, and you can see that's where I had it fixed to convert over to the drill. I could just plug my drill right in there with like a 1/4 inch socket adapter. Well, I took it apart and I cut all this off the motor and just left a little straight shaft sticking out. And then I had this motor right here last year. At the end of the year, I bought this brand new motor here to go on my 15-gallon sprayer. Well, lo and behold, I only used it one time at the end of the year and one time at the beginning of this year, 2024. And the little pump on the pump end quit. Well, of course, I was all mad and needed my pump going. Went and bought a new one that day, but when I got home, I'm like, well, I'm gonna save that motor. I see something with a motor on it. If the motor's good, I'm gonna pull it off. You never know what you can do with it one day. And this is a 12 volt now. It ain't gonna plug in electricity now. It's gonna be a 12 volt where I had to set my battery on the floor when I'm gonna do my tomatoes and hook it up. So I said, I wonder if I can convert that, put that on there. Well, you'll see here where I cut it off and I took the shaft out and put it on my drill press over there, and I drilled me a hole in the end of that shaft. So guys, I don't know if you ever tried to put two shafts together, especially when you're just trying to weld them together and get them lined up to where they won't vibrate too much. Now this thing does vibrate a little bit. There's better ways to do that, but when I'm doing one of my MacGyver moves, I don't want to put no money into nothing. I want to do it out of what I got that's already broke or ain't being used for something. That way if it don't turn out, I ain't wasted nothing but a little bit of my time. So then after I done that, I got out there and I tack welded the shaft to the end. I come in here and stuck the motor down in there. Now it fit perfectly, but you see it sticks out the end right here. And I just had to cut the hole in the plastic there so it would fit right in, and then I siliconed that around that with 100% silicone so can't no juices get on it and go back into the inside. Now again, guys, this little thing here, it's got plastic gears inside, but it really done great. And I was gonna just buy another one. Didn't know if I'd go back with this same brand, but I was gonna buy me another one and decided to just try this motor. But you can see how I stuck it back together, and the motor's down in there, and it's actually the way that it all sticks in there. It sits in two slots in there and sets, and then the motor, I put that styrofoam under it and it's zip tied. And then when I cut this hole right here, I cut that hole with snug so that motor can't go nowhere. Now I haven't got my wires hooked up, and I did test this out before I put all this together, guys, to make sure it worked. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get me I got a fuse here, so I can put an inline fuse, and then I'm gonna have an inline hand switch. That way my battery can be sitting over here, which I got a battery sitting right there, my trolling motor battery I keep in the shed. Whether I'm doing this here or I'm doing it out there under my outdoor kitchen, I just take my battery out there. I'm gonna have that switch where I can use it. But that's how you can take two pieces of junk and you can MacGyver you something, guys. And look at it. If you didn't know it, you really wouldn't know it wasn't made like that. Even though the motor sticks out, it's black. It looks good. But we're gonna test it out. I got sweat running off me. I had to turn that air conditioner off so y'all could hear. But it's one of them old humid rainy days and I wasn't doing nothing else inside to get in here and do that. Now I'd been freezing some of my tomatoes up so when I get ready to can them, but I just took 3 or 4 out and got them sitting around there in some water thawing them. We're gonna test this out just to see. But in the meantime, well, what I have my grinder still laying here. To cut that shaft, I just used this little grinder with one of these little, I don't know what you call these, Papaw discs or something like that. They really cut good. But I done pretty much the same thing on my corn chopper. I got a video I attach above that I made a corn chopper out of a little limb shredder. If you'll go back and watch that video I done on this, I tell the story of how I come about this old shredder and how it come about me one day to have the idea to use it for chopping corn, and it worked great. But the motor on it, this thing had been sitting out in the weather for years. But the motor on it, to get it started, I had to kind of give it a spin to get it started, and then once it got started, I could use it. And if I'd have just left it alone, that would have been great, because it ain't like I use this that often. About every 3 months, I grind me 25-gallon barrel of corn chops for my chickens. And that would have been fine, that ever so often, just to give it its quick start. Well, I was gonna fix the motor and took it off, and I figured all it needed was a capacitor, because it just, once it got started, it was good. But that motor was so rusty when I took it apart, gonna take the capacitor off. I don't forget what happened anyway, guys. I had some capacitors, but I never could even get it to run again after that. So again, I converted it over to a drill, electric drill of course, but electric drill ain't running enough RPMs. So then I had it converted over where I could put a 4-inch grinder down there, electric one, and that was how I was using it. And it worked. But I'm like, I'm gonna burn my little grinder up because it would start getting hot if you just tried to do 25 gallons at one time, and it didn't take 5 minutes to do 25 gallons, especially when it had the motor that come on it. You go back and look at that video just fast as you could pour that corn in there, it was coming out chopped. Well, one day I had a motor here. I don't even know what that's off of, guys. One of them deals, when I see something that has a motor on it, just say, for example, a water pump somebody's throwing away. Well, they throwing it away 1 or 2 reasons. Either the motor's no good or the pump end's no good. Usually one of them's still good. And that's just an example. I don't know what that come off of. But I got out here, done just what I just did to this tomato strainer. Made me a little bracket there. And guys, it's even got its own, that motor had its own on and off switch right here. And it works good. Now it don't work as good as the motor that come on this chopper. And next time I chop some corns, I'm gonna make a video. I have to run it through there twice now, because this motor ain't spinning it, them blades, the RPMs that the one that come on this chopper did. But I can still pour it through there twice, because the reason I chop my own corn, because we got nothing but cornfields around where I live, and in the fall when they harvesting their corn, I'll take 55-gallon drums, and I can buy a 55-gallon drum of corn half the price as you gonna buy chopped corn chops for, probably less than half price. Sometimes I'll swap out something for the corn, do a little trade. But anyway, I wanted to show y'all that always keep old motors and stuff, because you never know what you can do with them. But right now we're finna get around there and we're gonna test this out. I got 4 tomatoes. We're just gonna run it through there just for this video, and then when I do my tomato canning or tomato sauce or juices, that'll probably be in a video showing my I'm gonna call that a turbocharged, because that motor's way bigger than what was on there. So it might burn them plastic gears out of there, I don't know. But that motor there spinning way more RPMs and way stouter than the little motor that was on it. So I don't know how long it's gonna last. It might burn them plastic gears out. But now no more canning than I do. If I don't rush it, I think it's gonna be all right. So let's go test her out. All right, guys, we finna test this out. I decided why take this out there to the outside kitchen when the battery's already in the shed and the table's already here. Might as well just do it right here. So we finna turn it on, and as you will see, I got a torque strap right across here. Cause when I turned it on, just to make sure everything was gonna be ready before I turned the video back on. This motor, especially when I was telling y'all about that shaft, if you can't get it lined up perfect, and I'm talking about it don't take but just a frog hair off, and it'll vibrate. And as fast as this is turning, I had to put a torque strap on it. And that's all right, that'll work. So we're gonna turn it on. I got a pan of tomatoes I thawed out, and I quartered them, and I cut them up into like quarters. And we finna see how this thing works. Y'all can tell it's a little loud. Guys, all I can say is that just turbocharged that thing. We got a whole, I don't know, that's one of them loaf pans. I grabbed it because it fits under here just right. But as you can see, it takes a lot of tomatoes. That's why I said I was going to do a couple of tomatoes, and then I remembered I had to get several tomatoes in order to get this loaded, to get your trough all loaded, in order to start working, and the pulp will start coming out. If I'd have had a couple more tomatoes, I'd filled the pulp right there and just started shooting old pulp out in here. But that supercharged this thing, 'cause that motor's way Now yeah, it vibrates around. I'm gonna have to use my tarp strap, which this here's the table I'll probably be doing this part on anyway, so I can work in here with the air conditioner. And what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna put that in Ziploc bags and I'll freeze it, and then when I do the rest of my tomatoes, I can thaw that back out and put it in there and cook down with the rest of my tomato juice. So that little MacGyver trick right there just saved me about another well, if I'd have bought one like this, I think it's $140. But I'd have probably wanted to go on and buy one a little better and probably spent close to $200. But this right here is going to do me, because guys, I only do this probably twice a year. Once for tomatoes, once if I make muscadine jelly. As far as my strawberry jelly and blueberry jelly, I don't make much of that, just a few jars, and I always just use the little Ninja to do that in. So, y'all have to put in the comments, let me know what you think about my MacGyver engineering here. And to me, once I get a switch right here where I can turn it on and off, one of them inline switches, the switch will be right there if I want to turn it off. But I did, this motor's was running the wrong direction, so I had to swap my negative and positive on my wire. That way the motor's running, spinning the right direction. And let me show y'all what I'm talking about. But the auger's got to turn this way counterclockwise in order to run. See how I'm running my finger down to push the tomatoes out. So I had to swap my wires around. Now yeah, I done made a little mess right here. And it does make a little mess because you're going to have a little leakage. And you've seen a couple times when I pressed down, I pressed too hard and it made a little squirt out there. But guys, that's it. That was my little project for this morning. It's raining right now, y'all can hear. And I fixed that even better than the drill. The drill worked, but this is going to be better, because all I'm going to do is put me some alligator clips on the end of this wire, so I can just clip it on my battery. And like I said, I always keep my boat battery in here so I can keep it charged. And this is just 12 volt now, instead of running off electricity. But if you like these little type videos, you ain't never subscribed, please reach down there and hit that subscribe button. Don't cost you a thing. Hit that notification bell, because Papaw's place is a little bit about everything. You never know what you may see me doing. And even if you don't like the video that pops up, you're not interested in that, if you would do me a favor and just hit play. You can mute it, go on about whatever you want to do, and just let that video play. That's the best way you can help me on this YouTube adventure I'm on. And you can share it with your friends and your loved ones on your social media to help me get more subscribers and viewers. But guys, I just enjoy doing stuff like this. Most people would have threw both of them away, and I done bought them, and I pretty much made something out of two products that I done bought that went bad. Alright guys, after doing that test run with them tomatoes, I decided I ain't gonna freeze this. We're gonna take that, and that's about, I'm gonna just say, a good 6 cups. And we're gonna make us some quick, easy salsa. Now, after pouring the tomato juice all in there, we're gonna pour about a half a cup of 5% vinegar. And I'm guessing at this. I'm saying that's about a half a cup. What do y'all think? But no, really use a half a cup if you're gonna measure it. And you really need 10 cups of juice. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna start out with Miss Wage's medium salsa mix. That's just what we're starting out with. We're gonna doctor this up to our own liking. So we're gonna dump, this is for 10 cups. I'm gonna dump it all in there, because the worst case scenario, I can go in there and open a can of tomatoes that I canned last year and bring this up to 10 cups. So I'm gonna dump that all in there. We're gonna turn the heat up on this electric eye. And I'm gonna put the lid on there. Get it good and stirred up. What I'm gonna do when that's coming up to a boil, I got some dehydrated cayenne peppers here that I've done myself. I'm gonna go out to the garden and get some more of these jalapeno peppers and some of these Savannah sweet peppers, and probably me a bell pepper. Something's got my nose itchy. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some of them and dice them up real good, have them ready, and we're gonna come back and put them in there. We're gonna make this salsa to our own liking. Alright guys, well, what I'm gonna do, this is smelling so good, just as it is. Now, if you ain't never made salsa, that Miss Wages pack right there, that's a good place to start, just by itself. And myself, it by itself, just do what it says on the pack. It's better than 80% or 90%. I ain't gonna say 100%, because there's some good stuff out there. Better than a lot of that salsa that you buy in them jars out of them grocery stores. But what I got here is a bowl. You can see how full it is, because I just do by my taste. I ain't gonna dump this whole thing in there. But I got one heatless habanero that was about that long, about that big around. One Savannah pepper. I went out there and picked one that was bigger than one I had here just a while ago. Got through it in the trash bucket. It done sit on the table here a couple of days. It was about that long, about that big around. One small onion that I'd raised in the garden. One of the mini bell peppers. They ain't about that big around. And what else? Oh, instead of using my dehydrated cayenne peppers, I pulled two, had some ripe ones out there about that long, and they all chopped up in here, and I used this little mini hand chopper back here on the chopping board and chopped all that up. But since this is smelling so good and I got all this recipe, the package calls for 10 cups. Well, I may not get to 10, but I'm gonna add one of these jars of canned tomatoes that I had canned myself. Now, I'm gonna pour the juice in there first. And I'm gonna try to do this. I don't know how this is gonna work out. I don't want that big of chunks of tomatoes in there. Then my wife likes a little chunky sauce, but not, this is canned tomatoes. I'm gonna set this down in here and see if I can chop them up. Oh yeah, that's working good. Oh yeah. That's gonna add a little thickness to my sauce. Look at there. Give that a little stir. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put about half of this. I got it all chopped up together good. I'm gonna put about half of this in there. And this is why when you cooking stuff like sauces, you cook it to your liking. You can make it, you can add stuff, decrease stuff, add more of something else, and make it to your liking. Me and my wife made some from scratch 2 years ago. We still got a few jars of that left, which we made a pot like this. I forgot how many half-pint jars it ended up being. It may have been on one of my videos. I can't remember. But I'm gonna let that simmer, get all them flavors mixed in, and then I'm gonna do a taste test and see if I want it something else, or are we gonna stay with what we got. In the meantime, I'm finna go wash up some of these jars Because I'm probably going to water fast some of this and go on and have it canned up. Okay guys, I got this to my liking. Now, there's what it looks like. Kind of a thick once I put everything in it. Now I did come back and add me one more of my canned tomatoes. I wished I would have done enough fresh tomatoes to do this, but I opened up 2 half-pint jars of tomatoes because I wanted to make this 10 cups. I used about 3/4 of that y'all seen mixed up to begin with. Got it to the taste I like, got it to the heat I like. Actually just a little bit warm to me, but I know sugar likes it a little on the warm side. I got my ball canner out over here. I'm finna can this up, and tonight when Sugar gets home, we're gonna see how she likes this. Because personally, I think this right here was better than what me and her done from scratch 2 years ago. That's a good thing for y'all to stop right here. Go down there and comment and let me know if y'all think she's gonna like this, or she gonna say that she was involved in 2 years ago was better. But guys, this is just how my life is. If you're one of my new subscribers, new viewers, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate all my old ones. Thank y'all so much. But my life, the way I work, this morning when I started that video, trying to see if I could MacGyver move that tomato strainer there, I didn't have no idea about I was gonna make no salsa today, or even can it or whatever. Now in between that, when I told y'all in that video, if you watched the front of it, I said I got my tomatoes thawing because I had them in the freezer, so when I get ready to can tomatoes, to test that new MacGyver move I made there. At the time, still didn't know. Rainy day the last couple of days. I looked at the radar, but it didn't rain this morning. I'm like, well, it's done dry enough. I think I can go get that 2.5 hour yard mowed, one of my big yards. I jump the truck and I go mow it. Well, it's 3 hours, or by the time I get done with it on the way back home, it's done started raining. Still didn't have no idea about making no salsa today. And even if you watch that video of me at the end when I done that, I said I'm gonna put that in a Ziploc, freeze it, and then when I can my tomatoes, I take that back out and add to it. Well, when I walked around here gonna get a Ziploc bag, that's how fast my mind changed. I'm like, hey, I can make some salsa today. It's raining, can't do nothing else. So that's just how fast I change my mind when I'm doing stuff. And guys, you don't see not even a piece of my life. Between Sharon works all the time, now I'm busy mowing all the time, the YouTube videos, the gardens. I mean, I'm just here, and that's just how I gotta get things done. It ain't no planning, it's just do what you can do when I get time to do it. But anyway, she'll be home in a little while, and we're gonna let her test this out and see what she thinks.
What you done made?
I made you something today. Some of your salsa.
Well, it looks good.
Well, it ought to be cool enough you can open it up and sample it. I told my viewers I wanted them to pause the video and guess to see if they thought you was gonna like it or not.
I don't know.
Put some in a bowl, eat some chips.
Yeah, I don't understand how thick it is. It looks good.
What do y'all think, guys? Y'all think she's gonna like it? She don't always like stuff I do. Sometimes I have to tell her she can pack her suitcase and go somewhere. She don't like it.
I ain't left yet.
She ain't left yet, so I'm still doing all right. Let's see the first look on her face. That tells the tale.
That's good.
Hey, I think that was a real.
That's real good. What you put in this?
Well, now that's for me and my YouTube viewers. So I guess you're gonna have to watch the video if you want to know the recipe.
Yeah, that's real good.
Is it better than what we did from total scratch last year?
I think so.
I thought so myself. We like what we did from total scratch, but we had a little too much bell peppers in it, I think.
Yeah. Third year's the charm.
Alright guys, that means I'm gonna get a little snuggles tonight.